Even after searching every nook and cranny of the internet, we couldn't find the true owners of a company so large that it controls assets worth half of the US GDP. This is not surprising, given what we learned about it. That company is BlackRock, and it does an excellent job of staying out of your way, which explains why you've probably never heard of it. Before we begin, don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel for more intriguing videos like this, and be sure to watch this video to the end. Therefore, anytime we upload a new video, you will be notified so that you won't miss out on interesting videos from us. Let's dive in without further ado. It actually controls $20 trillion. In 1993, BlackRock released the first version of Aladdin to help it compare changes in the stock it was managing. Aladdin has evolved and is now the financial management software of choice for several large companies, asset managers, and multinationals, with $20 trillion in assets under management. That is 10% of all financial assets in the world, or 4 times the amount of money in the world. $20 trillion is greater than China's GDP and equal to the United States GDP. Surprisingly, Vanguard and State Street are both heavy users of BlackRock's Aladdin. No one regulates it. The Treasury is required by law in the United States to pay close attention to banks with more than $50 billion in assets. BlackRock controls assets worth 200 times that amount, but the government pays little attention to it. Why? Because it is an asset manager rather than a bank, BlackRock has gotten away with little oversight. That, however, does not explain why the government has not expanded the law to include asset managers, or even created a separate law for them entirely. Indeed, during a Senate hearing, Senator Elizabeth Warren asked Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen if the failure of BlackRock would pose a risk to the U.S. economy. Yellen deftly avoided the question, claiming that the Financial Stability Oversight Council, FSOC, which regulates banks with more than $50 billion in assets, had investigated and would continue to investigate BlackRock. Warren was unimpressed with the response. It operates outside the U.S. BlackRock also has investments in several other countries. However, its activities are just as contentious as they are in the United States. BlackRock employs the same strategy everywhere. First, it makes friends with the government to gain an advantage over competitors and, more importantly, to avoid government oversight. The company then invests in everything. For example, BlackRock assisted the Canadian government in establishing Canada's Infrastructure Bank, which will fund public-private infrastructure projects in Canada. The bank, however, has come under fire because its existence benefits only BlackRock. Something similar has occurred in Mexico, where BlackRock controls the country's pension funds and has purchased stakes in toll roads, prisons, hospitals, power plants, and pipelines. Not to mention the numerous contentious contracts it has won in Mexico's highly profitable oil industry. The situation is no better in Europe, where BlackRock was awarded a contract to assist the European Union in developing banking regulations that promote clean energy. The contract was a conflict of interest because BlackRock could pass favorable legislation that would benefit the businesses in which it invests. In response, BlackRock invoked its favorite line, claiming that it would not share any information obtained from the creation of the law with other parts of its business. It's the reason Americans can't buy homes. Home prices in the United States have been rapidly rising in recent years, and we have blamed everything for the increase. Everything, except asset managers such as BlackRock. In 2021, BlackRock was exposed for purchasing multiple homes, and in many cases, entire neighborhoods, and then renting them out. And it wasn't targeting multifamily apartments built for rent. Instead, it concentrated on single-family homes, which are the preferred property type among American homebuyers. As a result, housing has become prohibitively expensive, forcing families to rent the homes they would have purchased. The larger issue is that the sudden increase in home prices encourages investors to borrow money to build family homes that they will be unable to sell because they are too expensive. As a result, there is always a housing bubble and, as a result, a recession. The surprising owner? Finally, we've arrived at the crux of the matter: who owns BlackRock? BlackRock is owned by several investors, but let's focus on the top 4. Vanguard Capital Research and Management Co., BlackRock Fund Advisors, and State Street. Vanguard, yes, the same Vanguard, owns the majority of BlackRock. Capital Research and Management Co., which is an elusive company in its own right, comes in second. BlackRock Fund Advisors, a privately held company owned by BlackRock, is closely following both companies. Both businesses even have the same CEO, Lawrence Larry Fink. State Street, which has been mentioned several times on this list, comes in fourth place. Surprisingly, Vanguard is also State Street's majority shareholder, with BlackRock holding the second most shares. Do you detect anything fishy at this point? We certainly do, and we believe we can expose the fish by revealing Vanguard's owner. So who owns Vanguard? We don't know because Vanguard is a privately held corporation. It, like BlackRock and State Street, does not trade on a stock exchange and is entirely owned by its investors. Who exactly are these investors? Nobody knows, and we couldn't even find any names on the internet. And, in a recent development, Vanguard now owns 10.3% of Twitter's shares, deftly knocking Elon Musk out of the top spot for the time being. And that's all for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please like it and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on another wonderful video from us. Till next time.